What's going on, guys? K-Pine here and welcome back. And in this video, I'll be featuring my legend run in the Open Great League for Season 24 of the GOBattleLeague. The team features a Shadow Walrein lead, you already know. But really, Ice-type leads this season are fantastic at core breaking your opponent with all the ground and flying types around. The Walrus gets paired with a Shadow Dusknoir safe swap and Charjabug closer, completing the ABB style team to an opposing lead fighter. I did have 3 4-in-1 sets in a row to hit Legend, so I'll be majorly featuring those battles and breaking down how to play out specific leads and safe swaps. And with that, let's get right into the battles. Alright, getting into the first battle, we lead Shadow Walrein into Florges. Now there is one way I like to play this, whether they are on Trailblaze or Moonblast. Here, this one's on Trailblaze, so you'll be able to see the Trailblaze lands. I do like to no-shield it because, as we know, Trailblaze will do more damage. Load up to the back-to-back Icicle Spears. I go for an Icicle Spear of my own that will land, and sometimes we'll get a shield because it threatens the Earthquake. Either way, that's fine. You will then throw your next Icicle Spear right away, forcing them to have to go for the CMP tie, take out your Walrein, and then you come in Noir. If they let your Icicle Spear go, and then they win and take out your Walrein and you come in Dusknoir, you'll get a very nice Astonish down before they reach a move against your Dusknoir. So now your Dusknoir has this energy head start, and that tends to go very far against the back line behind Florges, because Florges likes to have ground types behind it, mainly Gastrodon, but it could have a Shadow Kanto Marowak, and sometimes even a Swampert. Here in this one, they end up catching the Icicle Spear on their Empoleon, which kind of unfortunate, but it's fine because you still have an Icicle Spear they can bank for later. You can come in and charge a bug. You can either tank their Hydro and fire off a discharge after over farming to the max to then use that energy later, or you can tank one, shield one, and farm all the way down, as you saw me do here. In reality, for something like an Empoleon safe swap, it all depends what you see on the lead as to how you're going to play it. Charjabug does reach an Scizor against Goodra. We let the Aqua Tail go, knowing that a move from the Florges does more than an Aqua Tail from the Goodra. At least I think it does. And then we save our shield and we are able to take that one. GG's. Next battle, Shadow Walrein into Florges, except this one is on Moonblast. Doesn't matter if they're on Trailblaze or Moonblast, you are going to let their move go. I like to overfarm here. Just out of preference, I don't know. Like, it would kind of be unfortunate if they do get the Moonblast debuff, but fortunately 2 Icicle Spears would KO anyways. And the reason why you just play out the zeros against the Florges lead is because no matter what, you survive and get off the 2 moves, which I like, which, you know, is very clutch. And if they are on Moonblast and land it, come in Charjabug and get the farm down, because like I mentioned earlier, Florges leads love to have a ground type behind it, which means your Charjabug might not have too much play like that if you're gonna lose alignment, because you don't want to come in Noir, get little farm, and have to give up a shield, and now you're on even shields in that degree. Where if you're on Trailblaze, you get a lot of farm on even shields. If they're land a Moonblast, you get a little farm on even shields. So you tank that energy on Charjabug and plan for Dusknoir to sweep. It's also often that Florges leads are paired with a flyer, like Thero, Corviknight, Talonflame, where Charjabug is good into, but you're losing switch, so you can't rely on that. You need to work with what's going to be more consistent, which is going to be that Noir, considering, as I said, they like to have ground types. GG's to my opponent there. Next battle, Shadow Steelix Lead. Shadow Steelix Lead, you're going to go straight Icicle Spear, and if they go for straight Psychic Fangs, you will be able to reach 2 Icicle Spears and win the zeros. As you'll see that my opponent does here, Psychic Fangs right away, will be able to hang on to reach that second Icicle Spear. If they go for the Crunch, you will not be able to reach the second Icicle Spear, but you still want to throw your first Icicle Spear right away. 1, to entice them to go for the Psychic Fangs instead, and 2, you don't want to build up to your Earthquake. You don't want to strip a shield. Where if they do happen to go for the Crunch, I have not come across a single Shadow Steelix that does go for the Crunch yet, but just in case you come across one that does, you want to land the Icicle Spear because you want as much damage on that Steelix as possible, so your Charjabug does not have to deal with it, or if it does, it's not a full health Steelix. And if it is a non-Shadow Steelix, doesn't matter if they go for the Psychic Fangs or the Crunch, you will reach 2 Icicle Spears regardless. Now, those 2 Icicle Spears will not KO a non-Shadow Steelix, but it gets it pretty low and gives you some pretty good farm for the Shadow Dusknoir. Here, Altaria going for the Flamethrower. We shield it correctly the first time. Going for the Flamethrower the second time around, we also showed that correctly, which is really nice. Now we get to overfarm. We get to the back-to-back discharges. First one gets the final shield. Second one, my opponent catches on Florges, but that is fine because Florges, that just means Florges will not reach its next move. And when that happens, my opponent does concede. GG's. Next battle, Shadow Walrein into Dusknoir lead. Throw your Icicle Spear after 7 Powder Snows. You want to throw on good timing in this matchup. That way, when you get to your second Icicle Spear, or even potentially your third one, you will always outpace the opposing Dusknoir. So first Icicle Spear gets a shield from them. We will shield in return. One more Powder Snow, and then the move, since it is good timing, gets their shield. And from here, I'm fine letting this go because if Charjabug gets on it later and they end up saving it, that's fine. Charjabug can handle it. But what most likely happens is when you come in your own Dusknoir, they will reach a Shadow Punch, get your final shield, but now you get 3 Astonishes worth of energy. You end up taking around like 30-35% damage, but it's very worth it because even if your opponent comes in with something like a Furret, a Fearow, a Galarian Moltres, which is really well into Shadow Dusknoir, their shield's down. So now they're not doing so well into Shadow Dusknoir because that Dynamic Punch hits extremely hard. And then if they do, you can just pivot into Charjabug after. Here, they come in with Carbink, get some good damage off of it. I go for the Discharge thinking that they might catch, which they do. And we just fall short because I needed to get to the back-to-back discharges there since the Carbink had a move. They end up outpacing us by a single turn and do take that one. GG's. Next battle. Now this one's less about a GreatLeague lead and more about a Shadow Dusknoir or Galarian Corsola safe swap. If it's a Shadow Dusknoir, you're going to throw an Icicle Spear after 6 Powder Snows. You want to take advantage of that 1 turn it takes to swap. So 6 Powder Snows, then pivot into your own Dusknoir and double shield. It's completely fine double shielding here because you got to shield earlier with the Icicle Spear, but when you double shield here, your opponent loses out on that Astonish worth of damage, so your Dusknoir still remains fairly healthy, but leaves absolutely loaded on energy, of which will be able to get that shield back from your opponent. Here, Shadow Punch lands. Another Shadow Punch won't KO, so I do go for the Dynamic Punch, trying to punish a no shield. Opponent lets it go, down goes Turtonator, in comes GreatLeague, and getting that final shield with the Icicle Spear right there will mean game. Because my opponent has to fire off the Rock Tomb here, and I could just survive a Rock Tomb and reach back-to-back X Scissors, where if my opponent overfarmed enough where they'll outpace me to another Rock Tomb before I reach 2 X Scissors, then Dusknoir would just be able to close it off with how much HP it has left, since I won't be able to get Acid down. But we do reach both X Scissors. Don't even have to worry about that, as down goes GreatLeague. GG's. Next battle, Shadow Walrein into Unova Stunfisk. You will tank the first move by the U-Fisk, and then once you get to the back-to-back Icicle Spears, you will fire off an Icicle Spear. An EQ will KO, but you don't want to get hard punished by your opponent shielding. If they do shield, that's fine. You can just come in Dusknoir afterwards. And if they do no shield, that's also fine. You get a nice Astonish down with your Dusknoir. But the reason why I say throw once you get to the back-to-back Icicle Spears is because there's a chance you could catch your opponent misplaying, where they go, oh, I don't want to CMP tie the Walrein, so I'm going to overfarm by 1. And if they do overfarm by 1, then that lets you get off your second Icicle Spear as well because you win CMP. So it's little things like that where in this scenario, my opponent didn't overfarm because they knew that would happen, so they didn't play to it. But there's a chance it could happen in a later match, or who really knows when. It's just little things like that that you could try and take advantage of. Discharge gets the final shield from my opponent. I will shield against this Fearow in return. Joe Pet gets my first shield. Joe Pet gets a second shield. And notice, I'm always making sure to throw on good timing. I do not want to undertap. I want to throw on good timing, knowing that even doing so, I will reach this dynamic punch before my opponent reaches third move. Because as you see there, it does not KO. And we get the Astonish down at the end just barely, which is very crucial because if we didn't throw on good timing, there's a good chance we would not have been able to get it. Shadow Scizor lead or Fighter lead, you're just going to pivot right into that Shadow Dusknoir. For Shadow Scizor is very nice because a lot of them like to chip and then dip. And if they chip, throw that Night Slash, they're going to give up your shield. But in doing so, they take so much Astonish damage that they're now basically in Icicle Spear range for your Walrein. So it gives you many different ways where you can play it out, where if you want to take shield advantage, switch advantage, or even just Walrein energy, where as you'll see here, I give up my final shield on the Dusknoir to either get switch or put the Blastoise in farm down range. So my opponent doesn't let me get switch, so I get the Blastoise in farm down range. They come in with the Scizor. They have to give up their final shield here, or otherwise Scizor just gets taken out. So they give up their final shield. I come in Charger Bug, and what is absolutely brilliant here is that Scizor is very often accompanied by water types in the back line because it needs to protect against Talonflame. So Charger Bug core breaks and just runs through Scizor teams very often. So once you're able to get that Astonish damage onto the Scizor, and even not, you're able to work with energy. Charger Bug back line puts in so much work against these types of teams. For here, we do reach an Icicle Spear at the very end to take out the Azu, and then one more Powder Snow does it on the Shadow Scizor. GG's. Next battle, Shadow Walrein into Dusclops. Now this one, I'm just gonna overfarm. I want to farm as much energy as possible and watch for potential catch. And now, more specifically, we're focusing on a Blastoise safe swap. For a Blastoise safe swap, you can't necessarily throw your first move on good timing, otherwise they will reach to Hydros, which is fine. Where if your opponent lets it go, as you'll see they do here, then you just no shield and get a ton of energy on Walrein, which can go ages. But if your opponent shields, depending on what they have in the lead or what you're reading the potential back line is, then you could possibly go down, shield and match it yourself, or get extra Volt Switch damage off, or even take that shield advantage, come in with Noir, and load up on a ton of energy. Here, my opponent lands a Poltergeist. Down goes Shadow Walrein. Now they have a regular Feraligatr in the back, and this is going to be very close, but as long as we're throwing on good timing, maximizing the Astonish damage, we are going to be okay. Because we give up our final shield here, we will get the Astonish down before they get the Shadow Claw down, leave with the Shadow Punch to take out the Dusclops, and Shadow Dusknoir will be able to close this one out. GG's. Next battle, Shadow Walrein into Shadow Kanto Marowak. Now there are two explanations I'm going to explain on how to play here: Shadow Kanto Marowak lead and Empoleon safe swap. If it's a Shadow Empoleon, let the first Hydro go and overfarm, and then go for the discharge and take it out, because your Charger Bug will be low. You're not giving much farm to the opposing Pokemon, and you will reach an opposing X-Scissor in the meantime. But if it's a regular Empoleon, what you saw me do there was not correct. That's not what you want to do. You either want to shield their Hydro Cannon, overfarm as much as you can before their second Hydro Cannon, and then go for the discharge, take them out. That way, when the Kanto Marowak comes in, it can't just tank a move and then farm you all the way down as it saw against me here, and then threaten the Walrein. It will have to throw a move against your Charger Bug, and in the meantime, your Charger Bug will reach 2 X-Scissors. So in Empoleon safe swaps, it's all about reading what their lead Pokemon is and deciding whether you want to shield once, tank one, and farm down, shield once, take them out and stay healthy, or like tank a move and take them out. It just all depends. Shadow Kanto Marowak lead, you want to play very similar to a Shadow Dusknoir lead, except play the 2 shield instead, and make sure you're throwing on that good timing of the 7 powder stones and the icicle spear. That way you will always outpace and dictate shield advantage, because you do not want them to pivot out and then your charge bug ends on it later. So that's why I'm saying in this instance you want to play the 2 shield, or in the Shadow Dusknoir lead instance you're fine playing the 1 and then getting energy on your own Dusknoir. Here, this is really for any ice type lead, but Shadow, Alolan, Sandslash is going to be the most common, quote unquote, I would say, that you would come across, where you're just going to stay in, tank their first move, build up to the Earthquake, and then it's up to you whether you want to full send the Earthquake or Icicle Spear. If they do end up shielding the Earthquake, it feels bad. If they do end up no shielding the Icicle Spear bait, it feels bad. So really, it's your call. I have noticed it's safer baiting the Icicle Spear since they're worried about the Earthquake nuke, but I don't know. Up to you. Here they try and catch onto Azu. We are ready for it. We have the Charge Bug. We come in, take out the Azu, land a Discharge onto the A-Slash, and since this isn't Icicle Spear range yet, I'm just going to come in with my Dusknoir and get some Astonish damage off, where here you'll see my opponent does not want to surrender the farm. So they pivot out, come in Togekiss, and now if my Walrein gets on that Shadow Alolan Sandslash later, it is an Icicle Spear range. But it doesn't matter. We just Astonish down the Togekiss and my opponent concedes. GG's. Next battle, Dewgong Lead. Shadow Walrein survives 2 drill runs, while Dewgong does not survive 2 Earthquakes. So you win the Zero Shield scenario. That's what we're going to play to. Always make sure you're throwing on good timing. I know I sound like a broken record in these battles and these videos, constantly saying that, but really, if you want to take your play to the next level and get the most use out of your Pokemon, it's something you really need to focus on and learn. My opponent does end up giving up a shield to the first Earthquake. As you'll see, we do survive that drill run, reach a second Earthquake, and opponent, you're just going to let them get an Ice Shard down, because you can come in with Charge-a-Bug and get a Volt Switch down of yourself. Since they are running a Dewgong lead, they most likely have a Charge-a-Bug answer. If they don't, this energy is going to be great. If they do, then that's why you're no-shielding their move. They come in with a Wigglytuff, and I have to stay in. Even though my energy is debuffed, I have to stay in here because I cannot get my Shadow Dusknoir onto that Wigglytuff. So throwing on good timing, maximizing the damage to energy to charge move ratio, land the first Volt Switch, second Volt Switch, and now third Volt Switch. This will take out the Wigglytuff, and with the Wigglytuff gone, hopefully Shadow Dusknoir is free, which it is. It's just Shadow Annihilate, and my opponent concedes. GG's. So here you will see me claiming one of the 4-1 sets that I had, which brought me over the line to 3006 ELO and Legend rank. As we'll now take a look at Clemont pose. This is a fine pose. I'm okay with it. We'll take it. Now we're going to take a look at the Pika Libre. Is it shiny? It is not shiny. Still searching for that shiny Pika Libre. But it is $4.99 CP, so available for those little cups. Take a look at the IVs. It is that 10, 12, 11, and then appropriately name it Season 24 Legend. Hopefully you all found this team breakdown and guide helpful. Plus, if there's anything I didn't cover here, which I know there is, that you're wondering how to play out lead or safe swap wise, please feel free to ask away in the comments. I'd love to help out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.